My boyfriend secretly kept a woman, and then she came to me with a big belly and asked to become his regular wife. Before I could lose my temper, my boyfriend slapped her in the face and she was so angry. You are a country girl and I spent a few $1,000s on it for fun, and you want to marry me? You are so bold. Yes, you can play with beautiful poor girls, but you must marry a woman from a wealthy family. His abacus beads are about to fall on my face, and he deserves to die of laughter. Zhang Zais and I have been in love for 3 years. On the day before the engagement, a female student came to the company to find me. She said she was pregnant with Zhang Zai's child. In the company lobby, the girl was not very old and was very scared when encountering such a thing. She cried and said, "Sister, I don't want to find you either. What should I do?" I was stunned. Zhang Zai's smile disappeared without a trace, and his usual rational and elegant look disappeared in an instant. He grabbed the girl viciously and pulled her away forcefully. When we were leaving the company, he lowered his voice and asked impatiently, "How did you find this place? Didn't I say I would give you money?" The girl shrank back timidly. "But I'm afraid." "What's there to be afraid of? It's just a minor operation." Zhang Zais became even more impatient. "Didn't they say it would be painless in 10 minutes? Just think of it as an injection." This sudden cuckoldry, combined with the scumbag's words, made me furious. My face turned pale and I walked over, picked up my bag and smashed it hard on Zhang Zai's head. Zhang Zais was forcing the girl to get beaten up out of the blue. She covered her head and shouted, "Stop, are you sick? Why are you hitting me?" I was so angry that I laughed. I pointed at the girl and asked, "Who is sick? You are good enough. Are you still a human being to do this kind of thing?" In public, Zhang Zais was scolded by me, and his face was embarrassed. Seeing the eyes of colleagues and customers passing by the company gate, they cast their eyes on me. I was a little angry and embarrassed. "You don't have to blame me. After all, the problem lies with you. Why are you pretending to be a good person in front of me?" Hearing this, I almost doubted my ears. "How can I not cheat on you?" Zhang Zai said confidently, "A woman looks like you, how can I not cheat?" I was stunned when I heard this. Does he think I'm ugly? We were standing at the door of the company. He was confident and his voice was very loud. "You are so confident in normal times. Is it because you don't look in the mirror? You are so ugly." I didn't say anything. If other men would have dumped you long ago, I was stunned. I took 2 steps back and couldn't say a word. But my silence gave him the courage to press on. Zhang Zais was furious and roared at me. "But I am also a normal man. You are so ugly, I endure it, then I have to go out and find a balance. The love of beauty is something everyone has." The impact of these words was too strong. I didn't say anything for a while. To be honest, I'm only 1.6 meters tall and not thin. My facial features can only be described as plain and pretty. I'm still far from being a beauty. Zhang Zai's appearance is indeed not bad. He is tall and handsome. If we only talk about appearance, I am indeed a little inferior in this relationship. But I have never thought that he actually sees me this way in his heart, and we have been in love since college for 3 years. Zhang Zais has made a lot of business orders with the resources provided by my family and got a high commission. When he collected the money, I didn't see him complaining about my ugliness. Maybe because I didn't say anything for a while, Zhang Zais felt that I was suppressed by him and gave in. He was a little proud. After all, appearance is a flaw. Others say that with the development of technology now, no matter how ugly a woman is, she can look good after dressing up. Zhang Zai said with confidence that with your foundation, no matter how hard you try, it's like this. "If I didn't force you, other men wouldn't look at you for one more time." These words made me furious. I went up to him and hit him on the head with my high heels. I said, "Screw you, you are not qualified to comment on me." The scene was suddenly in chaos. Seeing me and Zhang Zai's fighting, the female student stood by in panic. Not knowing what to do, the farce ended with the company front desk calling the police. Ours was an emotional dispute. There was no big problem. After a record was made, the person was released. As soon as I walked out of the police station, Zhang Zais left his mistress and immediately rushed over to grab me. The dog man didn't get beaten enough just now. Seeing that I was furious, I rolled up my sleeves and was ready to fight again. But the other party quickly showed weakness. "I'm sorry, it's all my fault." He was humble and submissive, without the arrogance just now. "Please forgive me." I was confused for a moment. "We are about to get married, I won't fall for his tricks," I sneered. "Forget it, I'm ugly, I am not worthy of you. We are over, aren't we? I still have you in my heart," he argued, and his tone softened again. "I was just playing around with those women. I really want to marry you." "What is he talking about? The mistress is already pregnant. This is still considered sincere. Some women are only suitable for playing, some women are suitable to be wives." He explained to me like this: "To be a wife, you don't need to be very beautiful, you just need to be virtuous and be able to wash clothes and cook when you marry her home. Not to mention your family background is so good." Zhang Zais took my hand and said very eagerly, "How could I abandon you for him? I am sincere to you." I didn't say a word, because I was so angry that my eyes went black. According to Zhang Zai's words, the reason why he fell in love with me is because my family is wealthy and can help his career. After my father-in-law and mother-in-law pass away, he can get all the family property alone, but no one is perfect. I don't look beautiful. I guess he still felt very regretful in his heart. Why couldn't he find a rich and beautiful woman? Yes, if he had this luck, he would have dumped me 800 years ago. But why did he think I had to marry him? Seeing the mistress standing by, panic-stricken and helpless, crying, my mouth twitched, and I asked him if he liked me and wanted to marry me. Zhang Zai's nodded desperately. I smiled at him. The next second I was as fast as lightning and kicked him hard. Zhang Zai's fell to the ground with a distorted face and twitching all over. I walked away. Damn Zhang Zai's, and I had a complete breakup. In fact, he didn't want to. In his eyes, I was a particularly good marriage partner, but I kicked him so hard that he had to be hospitalized for 3 days. Now he loves and hates me. He is afraid of my love for my family property and hates my cruelty. He is afraid that I will sterilize him completely next time, but I am fed up with him. Even my parents heard about it. Some events happened and asked me what was wrong. I just sent them a brief text message saying that Zhang Zai's and I broke up. My father only replied me with a okay. I thought that the matter was over, but I didn't expect that one day I met the female student again after get off work. Her belly looked much bigger than last time. Zhang Zai's was very emotional. The girl covered her face and cried. Zhang Zai's cursed and said, I still gave you red envelopes. Why are you putting on such a posture now? What do you want to do? He cursed excitedly, spitting at the mouth. The girl cried and shouted, But I am pregnant now. What can I do? What can I do to you? Zhang Zai's laughed angrily and said, Why don't you go to the hospital and beat him up? The girl also gave it all up. He cried and said, You clearly said at that time that you wanted to marry me if you were pregnant. Okay, you want to use pregnancy to force me to marry you. Zhang Zai's was furious when he heard this, and the girl was dumbfounded. Zhang Zai's really doubted that the other party he really wanted to rely on pregnancy to trap her. What he said was really ugly. The girl stood there, her face pale. I couldn't believe he would be so heartless. It was almost time to get off work, and colleagues came one after another. Zhang Zai's didn't want others to continue to laugh at him, so he drove away and left him behind. I wanted to drive away too, but seeing him standing there in panic and helpless, I looked at him for a long time. Get in the car, I said to her. I'll take you to the hospital. This girl didn't trust me. She recognized me and knew that I was Zhang Zai's ex-girlfriend. She looked at me with tears in her eyes, hesitated and didn't dare to get in the car. Let's go, I had no choice. Don't ruin your life for a man. The smaller the better. She gritted her teeth and left with me. Now the situation is very weird. I broke up with Zhang Zai's, and this girl is still the third party who interfered with my relationship, but I felt very sympathetic towards her situation and was even willing to take her to the hospital. My friend, who happened to be an obstetrician and gynecologist in the city's public hospital, heard about my story and her eyes almost fell to the ground. She said, Are you crazy? She was unbelievable. You broke up and you brought this woman for surgery. The girl stood there awkwardly. I put on a smile and massaged my friend's shoulder, saying sweetly, Please help me and I will treat you to a big meal. My friend was stunned. He looked at us repeatedly, but finally compromised because I said it was not his fault, and it was never the woman's fault. The operation was quick. After I helped this pale sister out of the hospital, she sat on the bench in front of the hospital, tears falling uncontrollably. She was timid and said sorry. I didn't know he had a girlfriend. He told me he was single. The female student burst into tears and said, I really didn't know. You are getting married. Don't cry, I'll comfort you. I comforted him and said, I should thank you. Fortunately, I didn't marry him. He also said that I was ugly. After I calmed down, I found it funny to say this. He wanted to attack you, but why did he need substantial evidence of his guilt? The girl burst into tears. I handed a tissue to the little girl and asked her to wipe away her tears. The little girl's lips were pale, her face was pale, her eyes were bloodshot, and she looked tired and haggard. He asked my sister, Will bad people not be punished? I took a deep breath when I heard this. Yes, I also saw Zhang Zai's means. He is a person who hopes to take all the benefits. I am not beautiful enough, but my family is rich, so he is very willing to marry me. On the other hand, he deliberately played with the female students who were not financially well off but beautiful, relying on the fact that he had no background with the other party and could be bullied by him. A girl like this can't resist even now that she's pregnant. There's no way to do anything to him. A heartless man has to swallow 1,000 needles. A man like Zhang Zai's who casually plays with other people's feelings has abused me and this sister. Will there be no retribution? I heard from this sister that Zhang Zai's got to know him through a school activity. He was a sponsor, with ulterior motives and cunning means. The young sister was inexperienced and soon fell for his deliberate design. She once thought that Zhang Zai's was the Prince Charming, but from the beginning to the end he was just Zhang Zai's hunting target, and then abandoned him. Zhang Zai's is such a shrewd man. He always values family background when looking for a real marriage partner. Just like he said, although he doesn't like me at all, he is willing to endure it for the sake of my family. I sat there, slowly clenched my fist. Some will definitely have retribution, I whispered. She said, there must be. Why is he so proud? The little sister didn't understand. She looked at me in confusion. I smiled. Yes, instead of waiting for the so-called illusory retribution, what is better than taking revenge by yourself? The little sister's name is Song Qing. She is studying at the Agricultural University. When he had the operation, Zhang Zai's disappeared directly, for fear of being involved in any relationship. But after the operation, I don't know whether it was because of guilt or because he didn't want to cause trouble, Zhang Zai still gave him some financial compensation. According to Song Qing's character, he would definitely throw the money in Zhang Zai's face, but I persuaded him for a long time and let him accept the money. Sure enough, Zhang Zai saw that he took the money and thought that he still had feelings for him. Song Qing was indeed beautiful. Although she was always pale due to the deficiency of qi and blood after the operation, she was also a weak and beautiful woman, which made men feel pity at a glance. Zhang Zai also knew that his ex-wife had done too much to this little girl, but he felt that Song Qing was even more beautiful after she got sick, so I frequently and attentively went to Song Qing's school, asked her about her well-being, treated her to meals and games, and bought her gifts according to my plan. Song Qing did not explicitly reject Zhang Zai's invitation, but he just dragged Zhang Zai around, eating and drinking tea as usual, accepting all the gifts, just to prevent him from succeeding. Considering his physical condition, Zhang Zai did not rush, as he could afford to waste time. On the other hand, Zhang Zai was also constantly easing his relationship with me. Because of work we interacted a lot, and if I did not change jobs there was basically no way to avoid him. He was afraid that I would retaliate against him. I could not say that I was indifferent to Zhang Zai, but I did not completely break up with him. Zhang Zai had always been very confident in himself. If I did not take action to deal with him, he would think that I still had feelings for him, which made me some friends really thought that I was crazy and was planning to get back together with this scumbag. They even came to persuade me privately, but I was the only one who knew that it was not the case. Only Song Qing and I knew that retribution was coming soon. Zhang Zai had been in a strange mood recently. His job was in sales and what he valued most was emotional intelligence and social skills. But I don't know what happened to him recently. His mood was unstable and he was very irritable. Several times in the company he couldn't help but quarrel with his colleagues and got angry. In the past this was totally unthinkable. Although everyone in this industry seemed to be harmonious, there were undercurrents behind the scenes. However, tearing his face like this was undoubtedly a violation of the unspoken rule of harmony within the industry. There was no doubt that this also affected his career advancement. After the company's senior management talked to him several times, Zhang Zai also panicked, because he didn't know why he was like this. He felt that it was indeed abnormal that he had been so irritable for a period of time. He did not take it seriously before, thinking that he was just in a high-pressure environment and met weird colleagues, so he inevitably overreacted. However, after several talks with the senior management, he also realized that he had problems. The senior management thought it was a psychological problem for him, so he asked him to see a psychologist for some counseling, and let him take a 10-day annual leave. Zhang Zai did think so too. He planned to go to the hospital for a checkup when he had time. Just when he was about to make an appointment for a physical examination at the hospital, I called him and told him in a flat tone that I had a customer resource to transfer to him. This made Zhang Zai feel very surprised and unexpected. He thought I had changed my mind, even though I emphasized that if the order was successful, he must give me 70% of the commission afterwards, but Zhang Zai still regarded this as an opportunity for me to reconcile with him, and he agreed without saying a word. Then she hurried out to have dinner with my client. We arranged to have dinner at the Chinese restaurant of a 5-star hotel. Zhang Zai arrived early and half an hour later the client and I finally arrived. He was waiting impatiently, but the moment he saw us sit down, his eyes lit up. The client sat down in a charming manner, casually lifted her hair and smiled sweetly. This smile simply seduced him on the spot. Seeing Zhang Zai stunned, sisterly didn't care. He knew that she was a stunning beauty, and the type that men could not resist the most, so he was not surprised and just smiled at Zhang Zai again. In the following business negotiations, Zhang Zai hardly looked at me even once. All his energy was focused on this beautiful woman. After the conversation, he knew that this female investor was not only beautiful, and the funds and family background behind him are even more impressive. Zhang Zai can't sit still. Like I said before, he has always regretted my looks, because a wealthy family and a peerless beauty cannot be had at the same time, so he had to do it reluctantly and settle for second best. On the one hand, he was hanging around with me, the only daughter of a wealthy family with ordinary looks in the city, and on the other hand, he was playing with those beautiful girls from poor families. But now, there appeared a woman who combined economic conditions and beauty, and simply satisfied all his dreams and desires. In this case, how could he care more about me and even look at me? I was not angry, but sat beside them to help them connect, smiling and with a calm attitude, as if I really came here for the generous commission of this business. Even in the end, I used the excuse of going to the bathroom to deliberately avoid them and create a chance for them to be alone. I stood in the bar behind the pillar in the store hall. I saw the female investor Sister Lee on the table smiling sweetly. She was amused by Zhang's eyes and laughed so hard that she was shaking with laughter. Zhang's eyes also took the courage to reach out and hold Sister Lee's hand. The couple hit it off immediately. I just looked at the two of them quietly, then took out my mobile phone and took a photo. I have known Sister Lee for many years. Every time I saw her, the man she was with was not the same person. Sister Lee was very famous in the circle. This female boss was accustomed to using some petty profits and her own charm to hook all kinds of men. She enjoyed these men's pursuit and obsession with her. And this just hit all of Zhang Zai's weaknesses and desires. I have been with Zhang Zai for so many years, I know her too well. He looks sunny and cheerful, but the desires in his heart are hard to fill. He thinks highly of himself and is ambitious. Now he dreams of the person I had been dreaming of had appeared. So Zhang Zai immediately drew a line between himself and me. He came out impatiently and publicly announced our breakup. This guy hypocritically said that he and I could not be husband and wife, and that we would be friends in the future. I wished him all the best. Zhang Zai quickly fell at the feet of Sister Lee. He was extremely attentive to Sister Lee, and did not even shy away from other people's eyes. For a period of time they went in and out together and were very close in the office as if no one was around. Anyone with eyes in the circle could see that this kind of relationship was indeed a good one. Someone asked me why I broke up with Zhang Zai, and I just avoided talking about it. I said what else could I do since it was like this? This caused the rumors to explode, and I successfully became the victim in everyone's eyes, and Zhang Zai was the scum who kicked the original wife and climbed up the social ladder. Male, but just when everyone thought that Zhang Zai and Sister Lee were dead, Sister Lee suddenly started to avoid Zhang Zai, which was beyond everyone's expectation. He and Zhang Zai have only been together for a month. How come they have already started avoiding each other? Sister Lee has even started to look for new prey and reached out to our company, a young intern who has just arrived. Zhang Zai even came forward to deliberately scold and make things difficult for this young intern, which caused dissatisfaction with him within the company, and extended to colleagues because of personal emotions, and even affected the business. This was very unprofessional, but in Zhang Zai's eyes, he was just protecting his own property. But after Sister Lee's passion for him subsided, she was just annoyed with him, and this young intern was not a pushover either. He whispered in Sister Lee's ear, and Sister Lee directly cancelled her cooperation with Zhang Zai and got rid of all the business was handed over to the young intern, which meant that Zhang Zai lost both his money and his people. During this period, Zhang Zai's mood was capricious and he was very irritable. At the weekly meeting, the young intern proudly brought up this situation, and Zhang Zai stood up and punched him. Because of personal feelings, it eventually turned into a physical fight. Sister Lee came to the company that afternoon. He was furious and felt sorry for his new love, but Zhang Zai changed his usual arrogance. He didn't even care that it was in a public place or what his colleagues thought of him. He begged Sister Lee not to abandon him, but Sister Lee was very cold and her reaction to him was indifferent, which was completely different from their intimacy at the beginning. Seeing the young intern's pretty face was bruised by Zhang Zai's, and thinking of Zhang Zai's endless entanglement with her during this period, Sister Lee was annoyed and said, "I told you clearly a long time ago. We are over, don't you know your own situation?" This time it was Sister Lee who said the same thing to Zhang Zai's. His face was full of disgust. "Don't bother me anymore." Zhang Zai's was anxious, he begged, "But I am sincere to you." These words made Sister Lee sneer. Bystanders can see that Sister Lee really has no interest in him anymore. His attitude changed so quickly that it was beyond everyone's expectations, and made everyone confused, seeing that everyone seemed to be obsessed with work on the surface, but in fact they were all eating melons with their ears perked up. Sister Lee wanted to leave a little dignity for Zhang Zai in the end. Forget it. He was very impatient. "Let's stop here." But Zhang Zai refused to give up. He went up and grabbed Sister Lee's hand. His movements were rough. He was so angry. "It doesn't matter if you say it alone. Sister Lee has been pampered for so many years, and has never been treated like this by anyone," he screamed at that time. But Zhang Zai grabbed him like a life-saving straw, grabbing the stairs to climb up. He refused to let go, and didn't even care whether he hurt Sister Lee or not. He just kept repeating the words of confession in his mouth. He knew that if he couldn't impress Sister Lee's heart today, then he would basically have no foothold in the company in the future. Anyway, it was like this, so he had to keep this woman. Sister Lee's arm was in great pain when he was pinched by her, and she slapped him mercilessly. For a moment, everyone even maintained their superficial indifference, and couldn't help whispering excitedly. Zhang Zai's didn't expect that Sister Li would directly tear her face with him in public. He was furious at the time, and he stretched out his hand and slapped Sister Li heavily. As soon as the slap was thrown, he regretted it, and Sister Li was also slapped by him. She was stunned. Who was Lu Chuanli? Since she climbed to this position, no one dared to treat her like this in all these years, let alone hitting her directly. Sister Li could no longer care about anything else and left in a hurry, covering her face. It was obvious that she was full of anger, and Zhang Zai stood there in despair, not knowing what to do. I held a water cup and stood in the company's tea room, recording the whole process with my mobile phone, with a smile on my face. Zhang Zai's got the family he had always dreamed of, but he didn't have the ability to keep them. Now he was abandoned by them. He even didn't have the face to continue working in the company in the future. If you want to get something, you must have the ability to keep it. But things didn't end like this. Zhang Zai slapped Sister Li in the face in full view of everyone, which was something Sister Li absolutely could not tolerate. Sister Li has a wide network of contacts in this industry and a very tough hand. The next day, the company leader talked to Zhang Zai and tried to persuade him to quit. Zhang Zai was dissatisfied at first. He did not accept this treatment and was unwilling to resign on his own initiative. The company was not used to his bad habits and directly fired him. The intern who had a good relationship with Sister Li took over his position. Zhang Zai was very embarrassed on the day he left the company. He did not want to leave, but the intern and the security guards forcibly asked him to leave. There is no doubt that this triggered another round of gossip among the crowd. In the eyes of everyone, Zhang Zai felt humiliated. He could not bear it anymore and left in a hurry. He had a hot relationship with Sister Li before and made such a fuss with me. He did not have the face to beg me for help for a while, and I could not help him even if he begged me. There was only one way to break the deadlock, which was to win Sister Li's heart again. Zhang Zai spent a lot of money. He found a second-hand luxury product. He went to the store, bought a brand-name bag at a high price, ordered 999 roses, took these things and went to wait at the door of Li Jie's company to block people, but it was a pity that time passed and flowers fell mercilessly. Li Jie came out and found that it was him. Without saying a word, she asked the company's security to drive him away. Zhang Zai was really anxious. He called Li Jie, but his plea was fruitless, so he simply resorted to hard means. A night of marriage is worth 100 days of grace. Now Li Jie doesn't remember her gratitude, so don't blame him for being a bad person. After hearing Zhang Zai say that he had some things that recorded the two of them in his hand, Li Jie was going crazy. Now this ignorant person not only hit him, but also blackmailed and threatened him. If he was really caught by him, his name would be written upside down. Zhang Zai himself was also very dissatisfied, and he was unwilling to fail. He believed that he would be able to return to his original position by pestering Li Jie, and even to the next level. After countless times of pestering Sister Li to no avail, he took out the old videos and photos to threaten Sister Li. The next night, Zhang Zai bought daily necessities from the supermarket. On the way home, he was tied up by a group of people with a sack over his head and stuffed into a van. This group of people whose faces could not be seen were very cruel. They directly broke one of his legs, painted his face, and finally sent him to the hospital. Zhang Zai asked the other party if they were sent by Sister Li, and the other party just smiled and said that Sister Li was our boss's wife. Since she is the boss's wife, there must be a boss. Although we usually play our own games, you are making such a fuss and embarrassing our boss. Hearing this, the last bit of hope in Zhang Zai's heart was shattered. Sister Li was secretly married. For the sake of interests, her marriage partner was another local big man. This group of people acted quickly and took action. Cruel. After they broke Zhang Zai's leg, they personally sent him to the hospital for treatment. Zhang Zai lost his job, and his recent ups and downs with Sister Li were also despised by his friends, so that when he was hospitalized, no one even went to visit him. Just when he was lying on the hospital bed in despair, he saw me holding flowers, and Song Qing walked in one after another. Zhang Zai looked at the two of us in doubt, surprised and happy. He thought that the two of us still had feelings for him. I smiled slightly and threw the flowers on his bed. Let's see you. Song Qing stood quietly at the door, looking at Zhang Zai's broken leg, with hatred in his eyes. He vaguely realized that the two of us did not come to visit him with kindness. Song Qing had clearly expressed his attitude, so Zhang Zai turned his gaze to me, and even tried to reach out and hold my hand. Aji, I know I was extremely wrong. I will never do that again, he said emotionally. Can you give me another chance? Give you a chance? I repeated his words and then looked at him tenderly. I would like to give you a chance, but you are useless. Zhang Zai looked at the two of us in astonishment, while Song Qing suppressed his hatred and said happily, do you think I am a mean person? You treated me like that and I still treated you well, cooked for you, bought you milk tea. Don't forget Majored in veterinary medicine, and the last thing we lack in our laboratory is veterinary female hormones. You ate so deliciously. He smiled and said, it must taste good. It's you. Zhang's eyes widened. He was so furious he got up and was about to hit someone, but his broken leg could not support his body. He just moved a little, and then collapsed on the bed in pain. It's you who hurt me. I didn't hurt you. Song Qing said, you must have evidence for what you say. But what evidence can we have? It happened 2 or 3 months ago. Even if we go for a blood test now and find that there is a hormone disorder in the body, what can Zhang Zai's do? It was Song Qing who harmed him 2 or 3 months ago. Zhang Zai stared at Song Qing viciously, and then looked at me with a smile on my face. He immediately reacted. This series of routines was planned by us long ago. First, we used this female hormone to deal with him, and then immediately introduced Sister Li to him to make him abandoned. What a cruel trick. You harmed me, but we didn't harm you. It was you who harmed you. I sneered and said, did I force you to be with Sister Li, or did I force you to entangle with others? You are insatiable and useless. I said you asked for it. Zhang Zai was so angry that he picked up the things on the table and threw them at the two of us. But I don't tolerate his bad habit at all. I went up and kicked him on his broken leg. Seeing that he was hunched over in pain, I looked down at him and said to him, you know, a heartless man has to swallow 1,000 needles. You should be punished for playing with feelings like this. You asked for it. Zhang Zai's face was distorted because of the pain. He hated me very much, but he had no strength. After saying this, I pulled Song Qing out of this unlucky ward. Finally, Song Qing looked at Zhang Zai with satisfaction on her face, but after walking out of the ward, she looked at the blue sky and white clouds blankly, and suddenly tears came down again. What should I do in the future? He cried and said, I'm like this now and you're so young. Of course we have to do what we have to do. Just treat him as dead. I patted the girl on the back and said firmly, of course we will have a better life in the future. He will just rot in the mud alone. The whole article is over.